God, I've never cried in a movie this much.
I know.
Did you too?
Last night I was like bawling my eyes out.
Hey pals, welcome to another episode of the Plot Pals podcast.
Here we are with the ultimate Christmas film. Please. Ooh. I'm gonna cry just talking about it.
I know, you are gonna cry like a baby watching this video, watching this movie.
This video as well, I'm sure.
I know, yeah, exactly. I heard that the toughest men even cry.
Exactly.
What is it you want, Mary? You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
And the thing is, I was talking to someone and they were saying there are no good movies to watch, no new good movies. Well, guess what? How about old good movies?
A classic.
Yes. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Before we watched this movie, when we first brought it up, what was your preconception of what it was going to be? When I was like, oh, there's this movie from 1947. It's called It's a Wonderful Life. What did you think it was going to be like?
Exactly. So when you said that, you kind of talked about it before because I was writing a script and you said it resembles It's a Wonderful Life because it also talks about after death or like what will happen after you die. But even before that, I think you talked about it. And my perception was kind of like a musical, so outrageous, like in the performance, you know, kind of like exaggerated.
Why don't you kiss her instead of talking her to death?
How's that?
Why don't you kiss her instead of talking her to death?
Want me to kiss her, huh?
Oh, youth is wasted on the wrong people.
So I was thinking a charismatic man, actually. A very, like, happy, jolly man, you know, going about his life and then teaching others, actually, what life is about.
Right. So you thought it would be this good man who everyone looks at to learn the lessons.
Right, yeah.
That's so true. It's a wonderful life. That's what it implies.
Yeah.
But actually, it's all about George being so stressed the whole time. He's like, why is somebody saying something bad about my dad? Oh my God, this guy's trying to poison that other guy. Oh my God, this woman who I like, I want to go to this trip. Please give me the dream. Like, he's constantly under pressure.
Oh, exactly.
Get me back! Get me back! I don't care what happens to me! Get me back to my wife and kids! Help me, Clarence, please!
The acting
oh my God
is moving. What did you think about Jimmy Stewart?
I know.
Are you attracted to him?
Oh, yes, for sure. But, you know, I think his young years is so good, you know, when he's full of energy.
Mr. and Mrs. Martini, welcome home.
He's actually like so upbeat and so good. And his eyes, he can actually act with his eyes so good. I've actually never seen such a range of acting, especially like in the classic movies. As I said, like they're usually a little bit fast dialogues and they have like a typical kind of like, I don't know, way of going about it or genre. But this guy is just so great. Like he takes pauses, he acts with his eyes, like he has this range of expressions that he can pull off with his face.
And you're so right. I didn't even realize he's acting so many different ages. So he's like a high school kid at the beginning, and like 4 years later after some disappointments, then like 6 years later after so many kids, and then when he's about to die, like and you can see the difference.
Exactly. Yeah, they really acted that good. And also like the what is it called, like the costume and everything, like makeup is so good that you can see the aging.
Right, that's true.
But the thing is, like, you know, you always have this idea that high school kids look so much older back then.
Yeah.
You kind of realize it here, like it's not an exaggeration. They actually looked older, I feel like. I don't know.
It's also the way they were dressing. Like they were in full suits and dresses and the hair.
Yeah.
So they just looked older. Like the girl is like, I'm 18 and she looks 34. You're like,
okay.
Oh, wow.
I thought you were married with a kid.
Exactly. It's like 2 hours, which is like, normally you're a little afraid of that. You're like, oh, a 2 hour black and white movie. But it flies by, and also
it actually has it in color too.
That's true. You can also watch it in color if you're a traitor, if you want to betray the director.
Did you watch it in color?
I did the second
you like
time. You know, the thing is, the color is beautiful. Like the fact that they did this,
right?
They took a black and white film and colored every shot. I can't even imagine. And they made it so good too. So
and the consistency and
the consistency, exactly. And it's like, so they colored every single shot, like not just shot but frame. So each second has 24 frames. I think they colored every single frame in 24 per second.
Okay.
It's so impressive, and you know, the color looks great, and I'm glad they did it, because now people who normally wouldn't be open to watching black and white will watch it.
She's talking about me. I can't stand black and white. Oh, that's a bad claim.
Okay, since you said that, the rest of the podcast is going to be in black and white.
Oh no!
Oh no.
Don't do this to me.
Okay,
No,
maybe
I'm
just for
kidding.
a
I
second,
think it's
for a
just this kind of like attention span that I have. Like, I can't. I want the colors. I want the whole like thing. I want to pay attention to everything. And I think colors tell a story. Black and white tells the story of light and darkness. Of course, it's a whole art on itself. But colors, I think, have more depth, and of course, they're like have much more range. I like that much more. Or just because
fair.
I'm like I don't know, a goldfish.
like
I can.
Oh, that's fair. And the color version was still really well done. Like, I had no complaints about it. It's just that you know that the director didn't want it to be in color, because they designed everything to be black and white. And it's like, you know, they didn't get to decide what color to put for the dress. Somebody else decided that.
Oh.
So it's kind of like, it's kind of rude to the director, I feel.
That's right. I was kind of like wondering if they knew, maybe they knew like the dresses or the costume makers of that time, and they kind of asked them.
Right, maybe.
Because the dresses for women, for example, the most important parts of the movie that we see, like Mary, and he's like so obsessed with her, and he's like so attracted to her. She's wearing blue and
Light pink.
Light pink, yes, these kind of colors. But who knows? Maybe any color,
maybe
any light color, it could have been
creamy, yellow, anything.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's one thing. Oh, while you mentioned Mary, I was gonna say, it's also such a romantic movie, isn't it?
know.
It's shockingly romantic.
It's very romantic, especially the telephone scene. Oh God. Wow. But it also is like so good. Like, it's so relatable. You see that he struggles to understand like the signals and all that. And it kind of is actually really good for women to watch it as well as men. Just to know that the other person can't read your mind, you know? Especially like women, we think that men can understand like that we're flirting or like we actually like them. But they have no clue, apparently. Or they're like extremes. They are so delusional, they think everybody's attracted to them. Or they just don't care about any of these things.
That guy, George was so confused. It's like Mary was giving all the signs, putting music on when he comes in and everything.
And the picture of...
Yes, but it kind of seemed like George didn't want to like her. It was like George was like, no, you know, I'm not going to marry some girl from my town. I have bigger dreams.
I know what
Which was so amazing to show, too, because, some men could think that. It's not all about beauty and, like,
exactly,
smartness.
Yes. Actually, you know, I think that's him suppressing his emotions. As you say, like, he's like, it's a big hit to his ego, you know? I don't want to marry and be like a domestic just husband in my old town that I dislike. I'm the one for big cities, for New York, and I gotta go there and follow my dreams. So I get that. It's hard to fall in love with someone that you're not supposed to and is doing...
It's so ironic, too, because here's a guy who wants to leave the town, and then the reason because he wants to leave the town, that's why the woman likes him. Because remember the scene where the guy is like, George is like, Mary, I know what I'm going to do tomorrow, and the day after that, and the year after that, I have my whole plan set. And Mary's on the other side like, oh, I found my guy. He has all his plans already.
Really? That's how you interpret that?
I'm shaking the dust of this crummy little town off my feet, and I'm gonna see the world.
That, for real, because she's like, he's so put together, every second I'm more in love with him. And then by them getting together, she's actually like destroying all his dreams. Isn't that so sad?
Actually, in that scene, I had the exact opposite kind of interpretation of her expressions. It was like instead of she was there standing and he was talking about all his dreams and stuff, and she's like, my god, this guy, instead of like doing some romantic thing and like sweeping me off my feet, is just talking about his dreams and himself instead of talking about me. So it kind of was like, okay, I'm gonna ignore that just because you're hot, but
Wow.
I'm gonna build skyscrapers 100 stories high. I'm gonna build bridges a mile long. Were you gonna throw a rock? Hey, that's pretty good. What'd you wish, Mary?
That depends on how you view other men. So if a guy came to you and he was like, I'm gonna be president one day, I have plans to buy a Porsche, this and that, would you be like, I love this guy? Or would you say, why is he not talking about me?
well, I don't care about him talking about me, but I don't also like, I love to hear about your dreams and all your like aspirations, but don't talk about that all the time, you know?
Okay.
When it's like not asked for, when you don't like ask me in return, like what is your dream, you know?
That's true, you're right.
So
But-
it's like kind of selfish, and it shows that he has a huge ego, which is automatically unattractive.
But what if he came up and he was like, Mary, I'm gonna take you and impregnate you, and
What the
let's
hell?
go live in that house together.
Oh god.
And like, Mary, what
if a
do
guy
you want?
said that, like he is out. What
That's
the-
true. So it's like both
Impregnate.
extremes are bad.
How did you come up with that? I'm glad you're not a guy.
Because I think that's what Mary was thinking. Mary was like, oh, I want to have this guy's kids.
I
We should live in that
know.
house together.
Yeah, she's so feminine. All she wants is exactly like to be a good wife and have children, love them, and like she's very lovely. But of course, this guy is just so different. Like he has all these dreams and aspirations, and he gets interrupted all the time by responsibilities
Right.
and things that get thrown at him in his life.
But you remember he was also kind of flirting with the other girl, the
Oh.
pretty.
He
Well, they're
was?
both pretty, but remember when-
Violet.
Violet, yeah. Like he just before asking Mary out, just before going to Mary's house,
Oh yeah.
he went up to Violet like, hey, do you want to go have a night out? So I love that they show this because it's like, oh, here's a guy. Like, of course, he's going to like the girl who's pretty and walking around.
Right.
But then once she's like, no, I'm not going to take my shoes off to walk in grass. He's like, all right, fine. But if she had said that, then he would have gone for her.
But it kind of just made him look so naive in that scene. Like, this girl is throwing herself at him, and this guy's like, okay, let's go walk the mountains and climb the mountains and walk on the
That's
grass
right.
all night long.
Yeah.
Like, you would be like,
That's true. He made no mention of anything romantic.
no. And yeah, I love that scene. It's so funny. Everybody's just listening to it.
Comes up. What? Yeah.
I know. He is a little too naive. That's right. In the beginning, of course.
But he has such relatable dreams. He wants to go to the big city. He wants to travel the world
Right.
and then become like an architect, it sounds like. He wants to build skyscrapers and bridges. Wow, how lovely. And then what happens? He gets sucked into his dad's business. Isn't that the worst thing that could possibly happen?
Isn't that just so typical?
It's
Like,
so typical. Yeah.
it always happens, you know? You end up doing your family's dreams and like
I
pursuing
know.
that.
Like, so my dad is in real estate and I'm in film. So he's often like, do you want to find a real job? Like, what are you doing in
Oh,
film?
God.
How about you get a real estate degree? And like, I just think if I did that, please, I just don't want to live another day. Like, why would I give up my dreams to help you? Not to say that like you shouldn't help your parents,
Right.
but it's like you have your own life.
Yeah.
Why would you just give up your dreams to go help somebody else build their
That's
dreams?
right. But at the same time, another lesson that I learned from this movie was that money is so important. You know, it's so naive to think that money isn't important and your dreams are all, you know, that matters. If you know, automatically, if you don't have enough money, you're not going to pursue your dreams either. So might as well get to a financial freedom so you have the ability to go after your dreams. Because this guy, he had the dreams, yes, this delusions and these like aspirations, because aspirations and dreams are delusions, of course, right? until you make them a reality. And then he also has this like lack of money and all that, and the fact that he's so loyal and responsible and he's going to take care of everyone. So what's happening is that he's not going to pursue his dream at all because he doesn't have enough money to support these people that he is responsible for. And it's not going to pursue his dream either. So it's like...
Well, the thing is, though, his dream was to go to the city and, like, travel. But he was offered this really amazing job by his friend Sam. Sam was going to say, come into my company, you can make so much money, and then you could go travel.
Right.
But he was like, even though I would love to, like, make money, I have to still uphold this family business. So actually, it wasn't that his dreams were in the way of him making money. It was his loyalty to his family.
That's right.
Like, he just wanted to be so kind to everyone and help everyone.
Yeah.
Instead of helping himself, which is like, I know the film shows that made him the richest man in the world, that made him like have friends.
Oh, just in
friendship.
town, I think.
Yeah, richest man in town. You're right. So like that changed everyone's life in the town. Yeah, that's all good and well, but like if you just put your life down to help other people,
right?
Come on, like don't you have dreams of your own?
You know, I know so many men actually like that. It's so good to know people like this. They're just so generous, and every time you are in their company, you realize that you actually get to be more generous, and you learn from them. But the thing is that they are willing to sacrifice their family's life, their own life, and their children's like happiness, or I don't know, children's like peace of mind for others, you know, for making others happy, for others' peace of mind, for others like well-being, which is like, why would you do that? First of all, you got to be able to support yourself, because how well you're supported, you're able to like support other people. So imagine like this guy is like full of life, he's full of energy, but by the end of the movie, he gave so much energy and life to others that he has zero life in him. Like he has nothing, to the point that he wants to actually commit suicide, right? So it's like, you gotta make yourself the source. If you're a good person, you have to preserve yourself, and you have to like preserve this like goodness, this energy that you have all the time, because you're the source that is going to like spread the goodness around. And everybody depends on you, so you're important. Just like this guy, when he realized at the end that he is very important and everybody's life would be different without him. So what he should have done, I think, is to just take care of himself and his family as much as he could, you know?
Exactly. But then he wouldn't be the most liked person in town.
Well, you know, I don't think you gotta be the most liked person.
Yeah, I don't
really
think so either. I don't think
that's just not realistic.
I'm just like, Mr. Potter, I love you. You're the right person for me. He's actually like he managed to gather so much assets around him.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Great job, man.
Right. He's very capable, of course, right?
And then you compare him to this guy who puts his honeymoon money down to give to these bank people. And guess what? His uncle is the one who messed something up. Like multiple times, his uncle would fuck something up, and he would take the responsibility for that.
He's a man, really. Like, you realize you are mature when you actually take responsibility, not only for what you've done, but also what others have done. But, you know, that's the thing. Like, there are these people, like this man that I know is like a doctor, and he has this family, and everybody, he's like so available for others that people can call him like at night at 3 a.m. and like say, I don't know, like I have a cold. What do I do? Like, this guy is that nice, and he's like that kind of like, he aspires to be that kind of person that is for everybody. I don't know, take responsibility for everyone.
Yeah, but how about your own mental health at that point?
Exactly, yes. And then there's not going to be anyone to take care of all these people that depend on someone.
So I don't know, maybe the main lesson of this film is wrong, but it's
how so?
Well, the lesson that you are important is good, but like that it should take you first giving everything up and wanting to die before you realize that you're important.
Exactly.
It's too late at that point. And it's not like he learned. Like, I'm sure as soon as he goes back, he's gonna start giving money away again and helping everyone. Because apparently they have this Bailey place, right? This like bank loan place,
Right.
as well as like the whole town that they've built, the houses that they built is called like Bailey Land or something.
Exactly.
So it's named after them, right? So there are big deals in this Bedford Falls town.
Right.
But they have no money. They don't make any money from what they do. It's all like a not-for-profit.
Exactly.
Why?
I know.
Take a share. Take like a percentage for yourself.
That's right. Like, exactly, you're right. He didn't learn his lesson, and again, that's gonna happen to him. Like, I feel like he had to learn 2 lessons, not just one. Even though, like, they say you gotta have, like, the minimum amount of topics to talk about, like, or themes to talk about in a movie. But since they touched on so many stuff, like, might as well.
Yeah, they should have given him a tiny lesson of like, take care of yourself more, bro.
Exactly. For example, like Christmas Carol, it actually reminds me of Christmas Carol as well, because he goes through 3 angels, like 3 ghosts come and teach him a lesson, and he gets to learn different kind of things, right, during that night. So the same here. I feel like he should have learned also about, first of all, yeah, he knows that he's important, but to actually like take care of himself. And realize that it's good to sometimes think of yourself. This is a form of self-love. You have to do that.
Like, what happened to your dreams? You should have learned, do you want to plan a vacation now? It's not too late. You could go to Europe.
Right.
If you just start making money somehow and saving it. Also, when you say Christmas Carol, actually the author was inspired by the Christmas Carol.
No way,
And
really?
wrote his story based on the Christmas Carol. He just wrote it as a tiny like card, basically, that he would give to his friends and family. Imagine, so he wrote a short story based on a Christmas Carol and would just give it to his friends and family.
Oh my god.
And then slowly it made the rounds and it became a little bit longer.
That's so cool. You know, I really love this concept of someone thinking that whether they're important if they were born or not. It's always like mind-boggling. I think about that a lot, and I'm sure everybody else also thinks about that. Like, you know, at times think like, what would have happened if I wasn't born? If I weren't born?
Exactly. Like, would anything be different? Do I matter at all? Would anyone even realize if I wasn't here? Would anyone even care?
And I think that yes, it would make a difference for sure. Not just because of like you as a person, or like that other people kind of like get affected by you, but just because of you as a soul, right? For example, this is what I think, is that we have to learn some lessons when we come to this earth, and we kind of like walk this earth as a human. We have to learn some lessons, and that's why we're here. We have to grow to a certain point, and we're going to be on this earth and reincarnate as much as possible until we actually get there, like we grow. So I think that's our responsibility. And to think that, no, you're not important and you don't have any purpose, that's totally wrong, because you definitely have a purpose, and you are here to change.
Exactly. If your lesson is just, your purpose is just to learn a lesson, that's still a purpose. What do you think is the lesson that you have been reincarnated to learn?
Oh my God, you know, I kind of think I have to learn patience. I don't know if it's just me as a human or like the soul has to learn that. I think that's one thing that I have to learn, and also to kind of like get rid of this material kind of things. Even though I'm not attached to it, but there are certain things that I still like cling to. You know, for example, family still is something that I kind of get my identity from. And there is just so many other things like earthly possessions or things like that I aspire to have or like cling to and like kind of get my identity from. I think I have to kind of like get rid of this and kind of control my mind, learn to control my mind. I think that's kind of my purpose here, to learn to have this like control over myself.
I love that because it's like there's these problems that I have that are like they keep coming back. Like since childhood, it's always been like, oh, these 4 traits that I have that I'm like, why can't I fix it? Like I know I have these, but it's like, as you say, it's your life purpose to keep grappling with these things that you have to change.
Exactly.
So even if like you can't fix it immediately, that's fine, as long as you're on this path of like you keep realizing that you're doing this and fixing it. Like I remember since I was a child, since I was like 10, I was so like, what's this word? Scrawny, like trying to grab my part and not share.
I see.
I remember we went at this restaurant one day and I ordered a pizza and my friend ordered the pizza, and my pizza came first, and I was like, did not want to share my pizza. Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is my pizza. You ordered your own. Just wait for your pizza, you know. And I'm eating. My mom was like, hey, please share.
That's your
And I was
friend.
like, what the fuck? No, she has her own coming.
Maral, come on, share your pizza. That's your friend.
Yeah, I know.
How you're gonna be like?
She's not my friend. I've never liked her before.
Don't act like this. Share your pizza.
And my mom would like grab my hand and start pinching me, and I'm like, why are you doing this? But and then guess what? So I'm eating the pizza and I'm like, this is the most fair thing. Like she's gonna get her own, right?
Yeah.
Why would I? Wait for your own. This is mine. But then her pizza came, and her pizza was a better flavor than mine. So actually, like, she had managed to order what I wanted to order, but I had ordered the wrong thing for myself that had like bad things. And then guess what happened? She gave me a slice of hers.
No way.
So at that point, I was so embarrassed. I was like, wow, look at me. I was not going to give her any. I was holding it all in my hand. And now, as soon as hers came, even though she saw me do this, she still offered me a slice. And I was like, oh, this is the biggest lesson of my life. I have to learn not to be so, like, just like Mr. Scrooge, like wanting to keep everything to myself. But even to this day, I haven't learned that lesson. Like,
I know what you mean. That's so true. I have a kind of similar story to that. That was so fun to hear this stuff. It always comes back again and again. So it's like my mom reminds me of what I did back then. It's like, forget it already. Like, why do you keep reminding me that? So, you know, there was this competition in our local park, and I managed to get there right when they were giving a prize to my friend. And I kind of, it was like for, what do you call it? Like jumping ropes. It was for that. So she was getting the prize, and at that time I came and said, I can break the record. Like, what the fuck? There were so many people there. There were so many people there, you know? Yeah. I ran and I said, I can break that record.
But
and
she had already won it.
I know. And then I did it, and I managed to do 100, right?
So you beat it.
I beat that.
Oh,
and
God.
Then another guy that was like our age too, he came and he said that I can also break that record, like I could do that. And he did 120, like we did at the same time, but he beat me. And I didn't even get the prize, so I could maybe give it to her. So my friend left, and she was so like sad. And her mom actually refused to talk to us.
Oh, wow.
She's so petty. I feel like these moms, why would they do that? Like, I was a kid. But I'm so ashamed of what I did. Like, to this day, I remember that. Like, why would you do that? Like, it was already done. She already
but I have
won,
a question.
Like, yeah.
So you came and you said, I can break the record.
Right.
And then everyone was like, and then a guy was like, I can also break it.
Right.
So, but did the guy say it before you?
No.
Like, was the guy gonna say that anyway?
After me, yeah. After I did the 120.
Oh, I see.
They were giving me something, and then
and then he did that.
Karma immediately. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. It's so like disappointing. I think about that, and I'm like, why did you do this? Like, that's so childish. And you were a child, but how stingy of you. How like
stingy is a great word. That applies to me too.
Yeah.
But it's like you also understand both sides. It's like a little kid who's like, I can break the record. I made it last minute. Why not?
And I didn't even care about the prize, you know? It's just that I'm still like, as you say, I still haven't learned that lesson. So I'm still like that. And I'm kind of like trying to show off my capabilities and things like, oh, I could beat that, I could do this, I could do everything, you know.
But that's such a good movie moment. There's like the kid is crying and you're like, I don't care. Start to kind of
yeah,
so good.
Bratty.
But, okay, so we
moments.
gotta learn our fix our stingy behavior. That's fine. It's one thing. Like, we were born to figure that out. So at some point we will.
Exactly. Maybe in the past life we were like a Scrooge.
Right.
What
And
do you
now,
think?
maybe we were so fucking stingy that now, like, God was like, go into a body of a woman, like a nicer woman,
Exactly.
and learn your lessons.
Right. But
We're no George Bailey. I think you can say that easily.
exactly.
That's a good man. Since he was a child, like, he's literally saving his brother. He's jumping into the water to save his brother. He's taking poison and fixing it up so the man doesn't
But
go
not
to jail.
to say that we're not responsible and we're not actually, what do you say? Like, we don't sacrifice for others. So, I don't know. You're looking at me in a way like, what are you
Never.
doing?
No, I
As
feel you.
older siblings, at least.
Yeah,
there are
for sure.
so many instances of sacrifice. And to other people, like, we're not all like that, you know? Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, the problem is, I feel like such a good person. I'm like, I gave to my brother. Like, I basically parented him when my
Yeah.
parents were at work, and I'm like constantly helping friends, being nice.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, why do I also have to share my food with you? You know, if I do all these other things. But then a good person would never say that. Like, for example, sometimes we have guests living at our house who are coming from a different country. Like, they have no house. They're like, oh, please help us. And they come to live at our house.
Right.
And in my heart, I'm like, leave. I don't want you here. This is my house, like my basement. But then you're just like, why? They have no house. Who cares? They could just live there.
The thing is, like, that's true. Exactly. But as long as, like, your peace of mind, like the kid's peace of mind is not disturbed, it's okay. Like, I feel like your family is exactly like as generous as like this George Bailey guy. So they would go to extents, I think, to like help others. As you say, like, they stay at your house for a fair amount of time, I would like to say.
For sure.
Fair. And to a point that it kind of like is a lot for the kids at times. Like,
Intruding.
yeah, for the peace of people. Like, they gotta have some boundaries, especially kids. And I'm saying kids all the time. Like,
Especially us. We need the boundaries.
right, yes. And that's the thing. Like, as long as it doesn't disturb the family boundaries, it's
Exactly.
okay. You can help everyone as long as you want.
I mean, it does disturb a little bit, but like, also you think the alternative is that they will be in the streets.
That's right.
Or that they will have to pay out of pocket. Oh, God forbid. But that's just my stingy side coming out. Like, it's
I
fine.
think, yeah, it's a combination of us having to work on ourselves to be a lot more generous, you know, when it comes to that, to not bat an eye when something like this happens.
Exactly.
Not get disturbed by another person when they, like, outstay their...
I know. Like, if anything, you should be happy. You're like, I'm helping
Yeah.
another person. This is great. I'm going to go to heaven. So nice.
Exactly. And a combination of that and a combination of, like, family having the boundaries. So, yeah, if all these things work out very well, everything's going to be pretty good, I think.
That's right. So, like, don't go to the extent of Mr. Bailey, who literally is about to go on a honeymoon, is in the car to go, and then he comes out, he's like, here's some cash, I'm going to give it to the people who need it.
Oh, God. And did you see, like, inflation has totally ruined us. They could do anything with a $20. God, what the hell? And $8,000 was, like, a big deal. But now,
Right.
it's
Exactly.
just nothing.
Look, we're still in business. We still got $2 left. Well, look, let's have some of that. Let's celebrate. Get some glasses, Kelly.
Do you think there was a lot of improvisation and stuff like
It
that?
really feels like there was, but no.
No?
It's crazy, because the script is so similar.
I know, exactly. I read a little bit of it, but even though it was so good, like, it was exactly like the movie, I didn't expect that. Because usually
Exactly.
there's a variation, like, it's a little bit different, But yeah, it closely follows the script.
But as you say, like it really did feel like the actors owned it. Like it felt like they were saying their own lines.
Exactly. They
Always.
kind of totally got into their character very well. I really liked Mary as well. Mary's actress. I don't know.
Donna Reed.
Donna Reed.
You know, she was a very new actress at that point.
Really?
So the studio system, basically, at that point, they would hire actors for their own studio.
Yeah.
So imagine, like, we have Plot Pals. If it was a studio, we would hire, like, a little boy and a young woman, and then we would keep using these for different movies that we make. We would keep using that little boy.
Right.
So Donna Reed was a new hiree for the studio.
Right.
And so I think it was MGM Studio, but I could be wrong.
There were like 3 studios, I think, that kind of produced this movie. One of them was Paramount, actually, and 2 others. I
Right,
remember. Lesser known.
Exactly.
ones.
So I think either Donna Reed was for Paramount or for MGM.
Okay.
And so she's a young hire, and then they're like, all right, why don't you play in this movie? And she was shockingly good, like, and she looks amazing too.
She is so beautiful. Yes. I don't know what it is about women of that time. They're just so classic. They're so beautiful.
Yes, they have the thick eyebrows and the really refined face.
I know, yeah.
So soft.
Exactly. She looked so great, and her eye acting is also kind of matches his. Oh, that scene with the telephone. I keep repeating that one.
It's
like,
crazy, that scene, because first it starts so unromantic. It's like the saddest ever, where it's like the girl has prepared everything.
Why isn't that so relatable?
It was so relatable.
Like her checking herself out and like doing all that. And
there's a fucking mom is right there. Like, who is that man? Your boyfriend is calling. Like, she's just so all up in the business.
I know.
It was so relatable. And so you're like, oh, God, I've been there.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're like, oh, I've also been there when they go into the telephone part.
God.
So
That's
good.
right. Exactly. Like the frustration that the girl has, the miscommunication. And the guy is also drunk, but...
yeah, a little bit.
It's just so wonderful how they do it. It's a wonderful movie. And did you notice that they keep repeating this adjective, wonderful, throughout? He says it a lot.
Right.
George Bale.
I wonder if they picked the name after, because the story is called after they wrote the script.
Right.
The story is called The Greatest Gift, the original.
Right.
But at some point they changed it to It's a Wonderful Life. So I wonder if first they wrote the script and like wonderful kept coming up, so they're like, oh, it's a wonderful life, or if that was the idea.
I think
they wrote the script.
It's such a good name, actually. When I was doing some like writing about this movie this morning, I kept writing about it's such a wonderful movie. It's a wonderful like I kept repeating life and wonderful all the time. So they go hand in hand. Like,
and there's another movie called It's a Wonderful Knife. I think it's a science fiction.
Really?
Horror.
Have you
I don't know.
No.
This morning I was searching up for It's a Wonderful Life, and then that one came up. It's like, what the fuck? It was also a Christmas movie. Horror.
Oh God, really?
Like
oh, they're trying to steal the title of
For
that
sure.
one to get promotion for this one, probably.
Exactly. But you imagine, so how simple you can be and still be romantic. All they had was these 2 people on a phone call, and one of them, like, the woman starts to be a little bit nicer to another guy just to get George jealous.
Oh, yeah, that's so good.
And immediately it works on George. Like, I think you should use that technique, ladies.
I know, yeah.
Just be a little bit nice to another man, and then the guy will come running. And then they stand, and it's so, like, understandable, because the phone, like, he says, the guy on the phone says, I want to hear both of you. Yeah. So they have to stand close.
And those phones are so cool.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, God. What a simple shot and simple kind of... And it was so long, too.
Yeah. But it was like every second of it, I was like, keep going. Just smell her hair.
The thing is, like, wasn't that time a little bit more modest? I don't know how modest people were, but would parents be this open-minded?
No way. Yeah, I was like, that mom is so cool about it. Because first she says, he's making violent love to me, mother.
Oh, I know.
Who would say that to their mom?
Not even to this day.
Yeah, for sure. And then the mom, like, watches this guy who's not even the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Just like a friend. Start making out with the daughter. I think that was unrealistic.
And she gets scared and runs away. That's so funny.
Exactly.
That's one. And then they immediately get married.
Oh.
Oh, wow. He gives up his dream.
Yes.
Marries
Wow.
this guy. You know,
Fell in
the
love.
thing is, like, I feel like, yeah, he sacrificed a lot. And on the other hand, the other brother didn't sacrifice anything at all.
I
Harry.
know. Younger brothers. They just get everything. Well, he almost lost his life in war, I guess.
But he chose that.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody forced him. But
It was
maybe,
the war.
like,
I think
I know.
maybe they did
Yeah,
force
that's wrong. But but the thing is, like, this guy didn't help at all. Like,
He didn't even help with the family business. And
I
he went to
know.
college, too.
wow, like nothing.
So
So
annoying.
ungrateful. I didn't like that. Yeah. And then he immediately gets married.
Mm-hmm.
And brings this woman there, and you see, like, that's the first time that George Bailey, is so sad.
Oh,
like, that's
yeah.
the first hit.
And it's
I guess.
amazing that they just hold the camera on him after the woman says, oh, he has a new job. And then we just stay with him as he processes this information. That's so modern. It feels like a modern movie.
Exactly. You feel like not even jealousy. It's just so bitter, you know. It's just that. It's like he's bound. It's like he's not free, and he knows it now. He's always gonna be just within the cage of this town and this business.
I know.
And you know, in the past, it was even more like often that these things happen, like being bound by the family business. Like I'm sure there are stories after stories of people that went through life not even thinking about their dreams, because that was not an option. You were born to help with family business. That's how civilization began. Like, it started with farmers, and farmers wanted what? Labor, workforce. They produced more
Exactly.
children so they could work for them in their farms, and these children, like, had to, I don't know, sell the stuff, the goods and all that. So
Exactly.
it's
In
like
their
a
best
whole-
life, they would start another farm.
That's right.
And
And
have
then
kids.
as, like, the cities grew, people needed more products and more, like, services. So other businesses grew. And these business owners needed what?
Always
Children?
family business.
Yeah, exactly. So economy, oh, bless you.
Excuse me.
No, bless you. Economy kind of, like, strived on family and family businesses. And that was the only option. And rarely some people, like, went and pursued their dreams. Either they must have been, what, like Da Vinci, they should have been bastards, probably.
True.
During Renaissance.
I thought you were talking
during-
about Da Vinci Resolve. I was like, that was not invented at that time. What are you talking
What
about?
the hell? No.
Suddenly you're like, new businesses like Da Vinci, Premiere.
Oh, God.
Okay, so yeah, Da
Yeah.
Vinci, the painter
Leonardo. Yeah.
slash
Exactly,
inventor.
because, like, it actually is like, if you read a Da Vinci kind of biography, one of the first chapters, I don't know which one it was, like, who wrote this one, but it starts with the age of bastards or something. So it was like after Renaissance or like during that, I don't know, but it was like the best time for bastards because they got many more rights as civilians, and also they could pursue so many things, you know, they could go to art and all that thing.
Wow.
And he was one of them too. So it's not always bad to be.
I know. How shocking.
And, you know, like, if you were, for example, born into a gentle kind of like noble family, of course, as a woman, you wouldn't be able to do anything other than marry another nobleman. And if you were a man, you had to keep the real estate that family had, the properties and all that, and take care of this. And also,
Exactly.
like-
If you went towards your own dreams, you would be cut off from the funds and everything.
Oh, for sure, yeah. You would be disowned. Not only in that, but also in society. You would have nothing. Like, even if you started your own business, you wouldn't even be able to do anything. Like,
Right.
because no one would support you. You don't have the society, the people to support you.
I wonder how all these authors came about. I guess Charles Dickens was pretty much an orphan. His
Yeah.
father wasn't really helping.
Actually, I realized that David Copperfield is a Charles, kind of like an autobiography of Charles Dickens. So it's a very good idea to read that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the list.
Exactly.
Now, me and you are big disappointments at this moment. Like, we're still very young and
know.
there's so much that we have to do. Did you think that George was also a disappointment?
I didn't think that. I don't think anybody is a disappointment, really. I'm kind of past that point. One time in my life, when I was a teenager, I would actually say the worth of people, like actually determine the worth of people by their accomplishments. And that would go with me as well, you know. I would say that, oh, I haven't done this, I'm not worth that much, or I've done this one, and
So I'm worth
very
more than this
worthy.
person.
Exactly. And not only me, but also others. I would say, like, this person is a total failure and all that. But I'm completely past that point. Like, I don't even see it that way. Everybody is just so important. Everybody contributes something. And even if they don't contribute, it's still okay. They're still valuable. And yeah. So I don't think that. He's actually such a good man. He's just destroying himself in the middle of all this.
It's true. I was just like you too. It's always determining other people's worth based on what they've done.
Right.
It was like, I think it was a few days ago. I was playing piano, and like my dream at some point used to be, I'm gonna be a pianist, like a masterful pianist to perform in these big places.
Right.
And of course, that's not like something that you can give up. Or like you can just keep working at it, and one day you could perform.
Exactly.
But like I wasn't there at this point, like on that day that I was playing, and I was just thinking, like, going into this depressive state of like, look at me, like I never made it, I can never play piano so well. What if I'm just like never gonna be good at anything? And then you go into down this spiral thing of like, oh yeah, maybe I'm just mediocre. Maybe mediocrity is my big trait. Maybe I have nothing that will be worth anybody's time for listening. And then I was like, oh, what if my whole purpose is to like, because you know how sometimes like imagine Taylor Swift, she's so talented and hardworking,
Right.
her parents, they had businesses of their own, like they did so many great things, but they're just Taylor Swift's parents. I mean, we don't really know them, even though I'm sure they were great, but maybe their purpose was to like live a kind of life to create Taylor Swift to then come and like conquer the world.
Right.
And so then I was like, oh, maybe my like everything I struggle for, me trying to learn piano, me trying to like read this book and that, maybe it's all gonna lead to the child that I create who's gonna do great things. Exactly. Sad. And then I was there like, my life means nothing. I've become the normal average person who's gonna like give up their dreams and let their kid do great things. And then I was like, literally that's against everything that I believe. Like I don't even want to have a kid. Why would I just take off all the responsibility of me trying to get somewhere to then put it on to another kid?
I know. Then they're gonna have a miserable life.
Exactly. And it's like, that's basically you saying, you know, oh, it's not up to me, like I'm not gonna get anywhere because my purpose is to create you who will get anywhere. And then now you're putting exactly all the misery on them. And so and then I was like, oh, please stop your misery, just don't think about anything, play piano. And like I realized maybe I should just enjoy this moment of me sitting behind the piano and playing. Like life is not all about getting to the very top of this mountain.
Exactly.
Because there is no top. Like, okay, so let's say you write the greatest novel, like your greatest version of a novel. Guess what? There's still going to be J.K. Rowling, who sold 300 billion copies of her books. And then on top of J.K. Rowling is sitting there like, oh, I did the best I could. Now I'm going to pass away. Like, imagine she's older.
Yeah.
But I never reached Shakespeare's level, you know? And so now she's like sulking. And then Shakespeare's like, oh, God, like I should have written more. What the fuck? So it's like you can never reach the mountain top. It's not about being better than everybody. It's just about doing as good as you can, and like being kind to other people so that you feel happy.
That's so true. But
So
I loved how you put it and how you said it. You know, it's just that I think the most terrible thing that parents have done to us, to not even them, like their parents have done to them, is the fact that they've made them believe that they are something out of the ordinary. They're special. You know, if you believe that you are different from other people, in that sense that you have this potential and all that, you are going to be hitting a very hard wall when you become an adult and realize that everybody is just as hardworking, if not to say more, and they have so many experiences and talents and everything, you will like really regret everything and you will feel bad about yourself. So I think that actually being special doesn't matter at all.
Exactly.
It's more about being ordinary. You know, being ordinary is not bad. We have this thing about it in our mind that is like, oh no, I don't want to live an average Joe's life, you know, like that. Like, no, you gotta live life. Like, if you live life, it's good enough. So,
and you could even be so miserable if you achieve all these great things.
I know, exactly.
That's the like paradox, because you think, oh, my worth will come if I compose this song. Then I will be a master and I will feel so good about myself. But it's like, okay, once you compose a song, now you still have to go eat, you still have to sleep, talk to your family.
I know.
So your worth is not coming from this thing that you create.
Exactly. Yes.
Because, so frustrating.
Yeah, because like at the end of the day, as you say, like you gotta do the ordinary things. Like you gotta eat and sleep and do that. Like it's just your brain that is trying to like avoid the boredom, and that is going to like suggest you to do this and that, you know, all the time. So it's really just your brain telling you. So it's not your worth. It's not the real you. The real you already has all the values in the world and is already worth all the diamonds and all the stars.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's such a cliche to say, like, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. But it's so true, because it's really not about where you are trying to get. Like, it's not like, oh, once I win that Oscar, everything will be good in my life.
Yeah.
You have to remember, like, either this will happen when you're 100 years old, or it will never happen, or it will happen when you're 30. Doesn't mean you can define your life based on that. Like, every single second that you're alive, you better do something that makes you feel like life is worth living.
Right. Exactly.
And like, just keep working at your thing and enjoy every breath. Like, remember, just like George Bailey, like, if you're alive, that's amazing. Like, if you're not dead, how cool is that?
That's right. You know, it's just about everyday consistency. The discipline, well, it's like overused, the word discipline, but it's just the fact of like doing something that you like every day and kind of repeating that, you will achieve a certain mastery. Based on that mastery, you will be able to produce that, like, I don't know, make a financial freedom for yourself, where you can be free of everyday anxiety and everyday worries, like just money, the rent, I don't know, food and all that. And at that point, you probably will be able to be more creative and enjoy life to the fullest and just do the things that you like. You know, it's all about that. I'm thinking about maybe having more hobbies, you know, like
exactly.
some knitting even. And once I detested these things, I thought these are old people
Yeah, why
stuff.
would you waste your time doing that?
But like, just hobbies that you would repeat every day, you know, just like writing. Writing is such a cheap hobby, I feel like, but invaluable. Like, it's so wonderful. It makes you feel really great. And all it takes is, guess what? Just a pen and a paper.
Exactly.
So just picking some stuff that you enjoy, just like piano, as you said, or like anything, and just living life ordinarily. Just let us kind of like come to terms with being average. You know? Why not?
Right.
Like, it's just so hard for us to accept that. But it's actually an averageness that, like, most people are average.
I know.
And that's where you find actual enjoyment, if you realize the value in that. Most people that were so like wonderful and like were great philosophers, they had these average lives outside of that.
Exactly.
And they contributed so much. Like, they had these family lives that they had, and these like I don't know, like pupils and students that were like around them, and they had all these things, careers, but also on the other hand contributed so much to the world. So
Exactly. But at the same time, averageness doesn't mean idleness, like wasting time.
No.
It just
Idleness is actually totally opposite of nature and what it
exactly
actually like is the goal and what it represents.
But just being calm with who you are at any moment and where you are. Like, For example, you can always imagine you're in a restaurant, you're sitting at a table, and you're like, oh, I'm sitting with my mom and dad and this other family. I wish I was sitting at the other table where there's this actor sitting there and this dancer. How cool is that table?
Yeah.
Like, wherever you are in life, you can always be thinking about the other table that it would be nicer to sit at.
Exactly.
But as soon as you realize, well, I'm not sitting at that table, I'm sitting here, and this is where I am, once you start to enjoy that, life becomes so much better. Like, I was at my brother's soccer game, and I was like, man, I wish I was at home. What am I doing? And then you just come to yourself, like, look at all these guys who are running as fast as they can. They're after this ball. Everyone is trying so hard. Why don't you just sit down and enjoy being here?
Exactly.
Life becomes so much better when you do that.
And probably there were so many people also, audience.
There
watching
were,
that.
yeah, exactly.
Cheering, and there's an energy going on. Everybody's so excited. So
Exactly.
it's good to be a part of that. Yeah, you're right. Like every minute, you know, the thing is, like, we interpret things. That's the sad part. We label things as good or bad. Things happen to us, and we kind of like say, okay, this is a bad thing, this is a bad day, this is a bad kind of thing that happened, or this is good, this flower is so beautiful, this thing is like that. We shouldn't even label the good things. I feel like everything is actually a blessing. Everything is really good, and it happens for a reason, even the bad things that happen to you.
Exactly.
The thing is that I feel like God, if like you believe in God, he kind of like whatever he gives you or whatever like he created, in his eyes they're not bad at all. Like there's no bad thing that he created. Not even the events that happen to you and stuff. None of them he thinks of them as bad. It's just your mind. Our mind is like in a way that it interprets things. It wants to interpret it. It wants to give a name to it, you know? Something happens to you and you want to say this is a bad thing. And that's what makes it really bad. That's what happened to George Bailey. Like, he's bound to be... For example, his dad dies. Of course, that's a bad thing. But he has to, like... He says that it's a bad thing. And then what happens? He is bound to be in the business just because they voted for him to be in there. Like, so he's like, oh my God, this is really bad. This is so bad. I gotta go. I have these dreams and all that. Like, why would you interpret that? Why would you say this is a bad thing? Like, everything happens for a reason.
Yes, and especially death of a parent, it's gonna happen for everyone.
Yeah.
So what's the point of interpreting it as a bad thing? And that's so much easier said than done.
I know. That's for sure. Like, I don't even talk about the grief and all that because it's so hard. But maybe like the other things that like business and all that, material related, I feel like, okay, if you want to interpret it as bad, you either just ignore everything that happened and go and pursue your dream without thinking about all this. And now that you're not going to do that, don't like make yourself miserable now that you made the choice to be here. Like, why would you just every day say that this is really horrible, I don't want to be in this old town?
Although he didn't say that, to his credit. Like, he would say it at the beginning where he was like, I have to go. But then once he had to stay, he would like put his whole energy into
I think
the
it was
business.
mostly like in his mind. That's why it kind of like built up moment by moment, and then at the end it kind of like showed itself. So
there's another thing though with everything being good. Of course, then that reminds you of war and
I think
atrocities.
the thing is, like, as I said, you shouldn't interpret anything. War happens all the time. War has happened from the dawn of humanity, from the moment that people wanted to possess things. It started to happen. So the thing is that you can't really interpret this stuff all the time. Like, you can't let them take control of your life. Right now, the war is happening in these countries. It's horrible, but would you let that decide your life and your path and how you're going to feel every day?
Right, but what if you are the person who's living in the war-torn country? And so now you can't go to school, your family's probably been shot, your windows are broken, and how could you possibly interpret that as a good thing?
You know, the thing is, there's this guy, Franklin, I think. I don't remember his last name. He was actually one of the ones captured by Nazis.
Oh, Viktor Frankl.
Viktor Frankl, yes. Yes, exactly. So he has this book. I think the meaning of life, something like that. The search of man for life, something like this. The search of man for meaning, I think. And then in this book, he actually talks about his experience and the fact that how you can actually kind of manage the traumas and things that happen in your life, like the bad things that happen, how you can control that. And one of the things that he says is that you have to think it this way, that you have control over you, yourself. And no matter what happens to you and outside of you, you can still have a different reaction to it. So something comes to you, for example, somebody is angry at you and they yell at you. Now, the default would be, what do you think the reaction would be?
Defense,
you would get
yell back.
Defense, exactly, yell back, or like, I don't know, cry in my case. And then, okay, this is like the default reaction. You don't even think about that. You just think that if somebody is angry, you gotta be angry too. But imagine it this way. Now you have control over yourself. So somebody's gonna be angry. What is your reaction gonna be? Maybe you can even calm down and smile and try to understand them. Maybe you don't even listen to them. Maybe, I don't know. You can have maybe you can laugh. I don't know. Like any kind of reaction, you can have that because you have that control over yourself. So I guess this guy really went through it. So I can't sit here and tell like, yeah, if I was in the war and my family was just like torn apart like that, I would do this.
Yes, but the fact that he went through the concentration camps, and he's even saying you could choose how you feel.
That's right.
That's really
I think that's much more credible. It's just that our control right now is in the hands of our minds, and we got to take it back. You know,
it's so difficult. Yeah, I'm always finding myself, if somebody says a certain thing or acts a certain way, I have my default reaction that is ready to go.
I know, and sometimes you wonder, like, why do you get that moments that you're like, why do I like get angry like that when they do this? Or like, I have these moments a lot. Like, why do I think it over all the time? Maybe they didn't even think this way. Like, now I'm getting into my head, but you know, for example, you kind of interpret what other people think of you, and you get into your head and you talk about it, you think that, oh my God, these people think I'm a loser, I'm not good, or like that. Then why would you? And then I catch myself and I'm like,
that's so true.
Why do you think that? Like, why? Did they tell you? They could think a million other things and you wouldn't know that.
Exactly. It's so easy to just say, I think that's what they're thinking, and so that's the truth.
Right.
But no, you really don't know.
Exactly.
And even if you knew that's what they were thinking, you could just lie to yourself. You could always say, they think I'm great.
I think we have these filters, you know, we see the world with filters, like glasses that have like these different lenses. And I always think it that way. So whenever someone says something, I try to think of it as this fact that my mind has a filter right now. I interpret it this way, but it may not be what they intended. Like, it may not be what I think it is. So let's have like the, what do you call it? Like the doubt, the benefit of the doubt. Let's have that.
So true.
And not try to do that. I've recently tried to do that. It's very hard. Again, your mind goes and tries to justify that, no, that person meant wrong and they meant evil and they meant
I
this.
know.
Yeah. And their intention is bad. But then you try to convince yourself again and again.
This has exactly been my experience the past few months. Like, if you guys have listened to the podcast, I didn't have the greatest relationship with my brother. Like, we would always either fight or like not talk. And so recently what I've been doing is like try and ignore the things that he says that I used to take offense at. Yeah. Like, sometimes he just like, he looks at me and he's like, your shoes are too colorful. Why are you wearing those shoes? And I would be like, why is he saying that? What the fuck? Like, why do you have to do with my why would you even mention that?
Man, that's so mild. I mean,
is that a mild version?
This
was like a kind version.
Okay, because I was like, oh, if you get offended at that, then what would you do if you had my brother?
Exactly. No, this was the mild one. But it would just be like back to back. Like when I'm trying to connect with him, he would not want to talk and all that. But now that I'm like, I just put all those aside. Like I almost don't even hear them anymore. I just ignore the bad things and I go for the good things. Like talk, if he says something good, I listen to that. And now our relationship is great. Not to curse it, but like
you don't want to jinx.
Yeah, like he's always like very funny. Like even when he roasts me, he's just like funny about it, and we watch things. So maybe all you have to do is like, as you say, like take this filter off and try and be positive about everything. Don't assume the worst about people. Like he would always throw garbage around and I would be like, no way, you don't know that you shouldn't do this. Like there's garbage on the ground. Do you think this is street? Not that you should throw garbage in the street. I would just be like mind boggled that he's doing that. But now I'm like, maybe he doesn't know. Like maybe he thinks it's okay to throw this. And so I used to just always clean it up and then be like, oh, he's so fucking stupid. I hope he learns this time. And now I'm realizing, okay, if you see garbage, just tell him. Like, ask him, hey, could you please remove these? What are you thinking? And then he would remove them and everything would be good.
Wow, look at that.
Simple.
That's so cool because I had the similar experience recently that, not recently, like, since my brother, like, kind of grew up and now he's, like, 16, kind of in an age that I feel like I can talk to him. There are times that we actually connect and talk. But then most of the time is that we argue back and forth and, like, But I just don't take it seriously. Like, he's at times like, oh, my God, I do all these things. I say all these things. And if I said these things to anyone, they would, like...
Never talk
to me or like do that. And I'm like, I don't care, man. I don't care whatever you say. Like I hear it from this ear and it gets out from the other, and it just doesn't affect me. Like I just laugh and he's like mind boggled, like, how can you laugh when I say these things to you?
Right. And laughing is the best remedy, actually. It helps so much.
Right. And he actually laughs after because I know that he's not serious. It's just that when I was younger, I used to take it so seriously. Like, I used to do that, but now it's just...
So true. Like, I used to just try and teach him, this is not how you talk to people. Don't you want to get somewhere in life? But now I'm realizing, maybe that's just how he talks to you. Like, you don't know how he talks to other people.
That's right. The way he talks with me is completely different. Everybody says he's so polite.
Oh, exactly. There you go.
He says, everybody says he's one of the politest boys. They always compliment my parents.
Wow. Exactly.
And I'm like, what the hell?
Who are you talking to?
Yeah. I think there are different versions of people. Like that you interact with and you have relationship with. So the person that I am with you might be completely different than the person that I am with someone else. I actually saw like a cartoon of that. You know, someone like with different faces, but to different people. I think that was so cool. That actually represents how it is. Yeah.
So true. And maybe you are like for the most part, like similar than different from all of them. But still, like the power dynamic changes so much between a sibling to like a coworker to a friend. Yeah. That your reaction changes.
Exactly. And I've been trying to like think about it also to make it a little bit more conscious that why am I acting this way with this person? Like, why am I so submissive to this person for no reason? You know, when I see why when a stranger comes, I act this way. I could totally be different. Why do I think that I have to be in this box? That, okay, whenever somebody is a stranger, I gotta be like this. I gotta be a little bit more modest and reserved and don't talk that much. And
exactly.
Why? You can change that, definitely.
Yeah, you gotta find out who the real you is. As long as they're nice, be more like that. But I feel like my real me, as I said, like would be very stingy, would be like...
That's not the real you, though. The real you is actually so generous. And it has all the things in the world. And actually, her eyes are... There's this Persian proverb, I think, that says that your eyes are full. You know, just like your stomach that is full. Some people, when you say somebody's eye is full, it's like... They're not hungry for other people's possessions or for wealth or...
Oh, full. Okay. I thought you were saying like foolish.
No, full. F-U-L-L. Yeah.
Your eyes are already full. I see.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like you're not hungry anymore for other people's stuff. Or just your own. Like you think that you deserve more wealth and all that. You want to gather that. You don't think that anymore. So the real you is that way, and the real version of everyone is the same. I feel like just like that. The best one. It's the most generous one. It's the most like lovely one, and I guess we gotta strive for that.
Just find it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's underneath somewhere. That's good to know. Maybe today we can try and be nicer. And every day, especially during Christmas time.
Yeah.
Just be more generous.
But you know, the thing is, though, I don't know if the real version of us actually, right now that I think about it, should be nice, per se. So you can show love in different ways. You can show love even with resentment and anger, I feel like. And how? Okay, so there was this man that kind of influenced Rumi, you know, the poet. He influenced him, and his name is Shams. Now, Shams is such a mysterious person. You got to read about him. He's so interesting. And Shams is kind of like the one that influenced Rumi to write all these poems and kind of turn into this divine kind of revelations and all that. So Shams was not particularly known for his niceness and politeness and all that.
Right.
He was, of course, he had received that like divine thing. So the love and all that, he had it all in himself, and he was like the best version of himself. But the thing was that he was not really nice. He wouldn't treat people that nicely. Everybody actually hated him.
But I bet he was honest.
He was honest. That's the thing. He was brutally honest. That's why most people were offended by him.
That's right. I think nice and kind are different.
Yeah.
You don't have to be... My big problem is I always try to be nice. And niceness is more about getting someone else to like you.
Right.
You are
at
nice.
Any expense.
Exactly.
Expensive.
So that like they would feel like, oh, you deserve to be liked. Whereas being kind is more about just giving
without
instead
any
of
expectation.
Exactly.
You're right.
Oh no, I wish we could talk about this movie for another few hours.
It's so good to talk about life and all that. It's just never ending. All our podcast episodes are mostly like about that. They have at least one talk about life, you know?
And how easy it is to talk about life with a movie that's all about what your worth is, what would happen if you weren't alive, what is the meaning of life, how do you find happiness?
Exactly.
It's the meaning of Christmas.
Right, exactly.
It's so special.
What a better movie to talk about life than a movie about life, you know, about a wonderful life. Yeah.
For sure. I'm definitely going to watch this again next week. And if you do as well, let me know. We could watch it online at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Maybe do
Black
it live
and white
or something.
Oh, yes.
That's
a great idea.
Yeah. And then also, I think I'm going to watch this movie every Christmas again.
To my big brother George, the richest man in town.
What an experience. But definitely this one is on the list. I'm the biggest fan of this movie.
So much crying opportunities. Did you know, we have no time for this, but did you know all the snow is fake in that movie? All the snow that comes down and on the ground. They were shooting it in the middle of summer.
Oh, God. Wow.
How?
And it was all in a studio, too.
I know. Yeah, it's like the most... It's so realistic, too. The city looks so real.
How did they do this?
It looks like a small town, you know, which is what it is.
Exactly. And the fact that they changed everything, like all the signs and all that. Oh, wow.
So impressive.
Yes.
So watch It's a Wonderful Life. Cry with us. Laugh with us. There's literally... Oh, my God. I want to put some clips into this. It's too good.
Sure.
The black and white clips, of course.
Oh. Don't do that. I'm not going to watch those parts. Oh, too biased. Yeah.
Oh.
But also comment what you think about life and about all these things and
the pursuit of happiness, the pursuit of meaning.
Right.
Do you have meaning in your life? Or
what kind of question is that?
Do you sometimes feel sad? No, just say your interpretation.
Exactly,
of
yes.
the meaning of life. Okay. Thank
you so
and
much.
See you on the next one.
Yes. Thank you
happy
for
holidays.
subscribing to our channel and also commenting down below. We appreciate it.
So nice.
And have a great holly jolly Christmas, everybody.
See you on the next one.
See you. Bye. Happy Christmas.